Hey, MC, Luke here. Now earlier today, I was doing some painting in the garage. We have a construction project going on in the house, and the garage needed a second coat. And I looked down, and there's an innocent little jumping spider there. A spider. Some people, I personally like spiders. I think they're cool. But many people have a fear of spiders. Arachnophobia. Phobia. Or arachnophobia specific phobia, which is a kind of phobia. This is water. We all need water to survive. Pretty simple. Well, not necessarily. In about 100 AD, a Roman doctor named Celsus used the term hydrophobia to describe a patient who seemed to have an irrational fear of water due to rabies. People with advanced rabies can sometimes develop extreme thirst but also be averse to water and unable to drink. Celsus likely got the term phobia from the Greek god Phobos, the son of the Greek god of war Ares. People ran away in horror from Phobos, so the term phobia was adopted to explain someone who's in horrible fear. But that was thousands of years ago. The first modern use of the word phobia is in the Oxford English Dictionary, where an unknown writer defined the term as being afraid of an unimaginable fear or an undue fear of one. But the term wouldn't begin to be used widely until the late 1800s, when it started getting real use. Doctors noticed that while death and some venomous snakes, obvious danger, people feared, some people were even more so afraid in public speaking and leaving their house. No real imminent danger there, but people were still afraid. In 1895, founder of psychoanalysis Sigmund Freud wrote about a boy named Hans who was terrified by a horse in the street and developed an irrational fear of horses. Sigmund Freud speculated that this was actually the true cause of the fear was an unconscious relation for the fear of the boy's father. This led other researchers to speculate that phobias can actually be related to unconscious conflicts in the mind, some that usually people aren't even aware they have. But it wasn't until 1947 that phobias became their own category, which leads me into telling you the three different kinds of phobias. The first type of phobia is specific phobias. These are your arachnophobia, fear of spiders, fear of heights, fear of public speaking, fear of pool noodles, the list goes on, fear of belly buttons. These fears are triggered by the object or situation that is the specific situation for the fear. While I struggled to climb up this thing to make a point, I'm going to tell you that of the 331.9 million Americans, around 12.5% of them experience some kind of specific phobia at some point in their life. I'm doing all this for a video. Jeez. Things that can cause specific fears are often related to the thing they are afraid of, such as climbing on a high object and falling would cause a fear of heights to happen, or being bit by a dog may cause you to develop a fear of dogs. Now I gotta figure out how to get out of here. That was intense. Fears can also be a learned behavior, such as a parent's fear of something can also translate into the child, and then the child will also fear that thing. Okay, just back to arachnophobia. Let's see a child witnesses their parent experience an intense fear of spiders. The child would then have the learned behavior to also fear spiders. Just like how with the Bobo doll, the child observing the model being aggressive with the doll also themselves became aggressive, whereas the child viewing the model that was neutral or not aggressive also themselves were neutral or not aggressive. Conditioning can also be a cause of specific phobias. Let's say somebody has a panic attack in an elevator. They might start to associate having panic attacks with elevators, and they might actually develop a fear of elevators. There is an example of conditioning that would cause a phobia, specific phobia. A phobia, specific phobia, a specific phobia. But the question is, how do you treat these phobias? One solution would be exposure therapy, gradually increasing the exposure of the feared object or situation to the patient and allow them to gradually become accustomed to its presence. Eventually, the patient would begin to no longer fear the object or situation. Another treatment is cognitive restructuring, where in which the individual actively thinks about their own fears and attempts to replace their exaggerated reactions with more realistic ones. In some cases, medications can also be a treatment, but not on their own, such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors can be taken. These are basically anti-anxiety medications, but they're never usually prescribed as by themselves, and they usually work with one of the other treatments to reduce anxiety responses. So that was specific phobias. But what other kinds of phobias are there? Well, I'm glad you asked. Asked? I should probably redo that one. Well, redo that one too. That one sucked. Social phobias. Social phobia, also known as anxiety, social anxiety. I gotta get farther away. I'm too antisocial for this crap. Another kind of phobia is social phobias, and I actually think I have this one. Meet all my friends. I'm gonna let real life Luke take this one. Plus, it'll help me grow as a student. You know what, Luke? I'm gonna do you a solid and actually throw the slide that you probably need right here. There you go. Here, I'll zoom it in for you. There you go. All right, there you go, buddy. Alright, I'm sure that went great, other Luke. I'm sure you did a great job. That exposure theory was probably pretty helpful for you, me, us. Anyway, let's move on to agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is the intense fear of being in places that might cause panic, embarrassment, or being trapped. So, I'm gonna do a little quiz. How about true or false, or A and B? A, this place, this wide field here, with nobody in it, and I'm completely by myself, is A, going to be something that makes me get scared if I had agoraphobia? Or B, something that wouldn't make me get scared if I had agoraphobia? If you guessed A, you're right.
Huh?
Let's go to another place to test you guys. Ugh. Oh, what the heck? How did I get in here? Wait, where even is here? Oh my... How did I get in the washing machine? Wait, don't turn it on. While I contemplate my choices for making this project, I'd like you guys to answer the question, would this place make someone who has agoraphobia be very frightened? Actually, now that I think of it, I think anyone would be frightened in there. I might have taken that one a little too far. It's true. Although, not realistic. A microwave can be a very scary thing. What? But let's look at some actual real-life scenarios where this would happen. How about here? Here? Maybe right here? But you might be thinking, well, Luke, based on what you've told me, it kind of just sounds like agoraphobia is similar to social phobia. And it does sound similar, but there are some differences. Agoraphobia is more about physical spaces and if escape is challenging or not, where social phobia is more about judgment, being negatively judged in social interactions. For example, somebody with social phobia would avoid social situations in which negative judgment or embarrassment might occur, but they're not necessarily afraid to be alone. Whereas somebody with agoraphobia might not even want to leave their house alone, and would also fear large open spaces or highly populated areas, which is why me being out in that open field would cause an agoraphobia person to be frightened, but not someone who has social phobia, because there's no one there to judge them. So we know what agoraphobia does, but how do people actually get it? The exact causes of agoraphobia aren't fully understood, but it's believed that a combination of genetic, environmental, and psychological factors contribute to it. Hey Gramps, doing a video. Traumatic experiences and observed learning could potentially cause agoraphobia in situations where you experienced a panic attack in a place that was difficult to escape from, or even witnessed an other experience panic attack, which could lead to associations in certain places, such as this place right here. The truth is that agoraphobia really doesn't affect two people the same, so it's not quite predictable. But there are still treatments for it. I'll get to those. Treatments for agoraphobia include the much talked about exposure therapy, a combination of that plus medications such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. I remembered it that time. You'll see the outtakes at the end of the video. And self-help techniques where the patient works through their phobias and tries to calm themselves and reach a state of relaxation. Sounds nice. Look at that view. We're back out in the field. That was my presentation. Hope you guys like, oh shoot. No! What about you?